tonight, attacked in Iraq. ABC's Bob Woodruff and cameraman Doug Vogt severely wounded in a roadside bombing. The risk they and others take to cover the story. Deadly threat, the growing menace of roadside bombs, 10,000 in just the last year. Troops say they feel like sitting ducks. The big chill, the top climate expert at NASA who says the White House tried to keep him quiet about global warming. And the men who led Enron go on trial. There is so much public anger, why making the case against them might not be easy.
From ABC News headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight.
Good evening, I'm Elizabeth Vargas. We begin tonight in Iraq, as we have on so many nights on this broadcast. But this evening, the story is about two of our colleagues and friends at ABC News. My co-anchor, Bob Woodruff, and cameraman Doug Vogt were on assignment in Iraq with a military convoy near the city of Taji, north of Baghdad, when a roadside bomb exploded. Bob and Doug were hit by shrapnel, and both men sustained head injuries. Bob also suffered injuries to his upper body. Both men have emerged from surgery in serious but stable condition, and they are awaiting an airlift to a U.S. military hospital in Germany. The White House said in a statement, quote, "Our thoughts and prayers are with Mr. Woodruff and Mr. Vogt. We are praying for their full and speedy recovery." We start our coverage tonight in Washington with ABC's Martha Raddatz, who's been to Iraq many times. Martha?
Elizabeth, Bob and Doug had been embedded with the 4th Infantry Division for 2 days, and today were part of a routine convoy with U.S. and Iraqi security forces.
This is Bob approximately half an hour before the attack, talking to soldiers from the 4th ID. The Iraqi armored vehicle in which Bob and Doug were riding was leading an 8-vehicle convoy made up mostly of U.S. armored Humvees. Bob and Doug were both wearing helmets and body armor. They were standing up in the back hatch of the vehicle, taping a stand-up, a video log of the patrol. That's when the vehicle hit the roadside bomb. ABC senior producer Kate Felson had been working with Bob for the past 2 weeks, traveling throughout the region.
He wanted to get out there and report the story and not be locked in and taking the information from somebody else who was experiencing it.
Both Bob and Doug were medevaced to a combat support hospital in the Green Zone. They were at the hospital within 37 minutes of the blast. Doctors there determined both needed surgery, so they were transferred to Balad Air Base. Kate Felson was with Bob and Doug in the Green Zone before they departed.
I spoke with both of them, and Doug was conscious, and I was able to reassure him that we were getting him care. I spoke to Bob also and walked with them to the helicopter.
The ambush was a complex attack. Following the bombing, insurgents began firing from 3 different directions. Iraqi security forces spread out looking for the triggermen, while U.S. forces rendered aid to Bob and Doug. The convoy was also equipped with IED jammers, which would jam any remote-controlled bomb using wireless signals. This bomb was apparently detonated through a hard wire in the ground.
The area where the attack occurred is the same area where a U.S. Apache helicopter was shot down earlier this month. Elizabeth?
And Martha, it's worth noting that both Bob and Doug were experienced in war zones and knew very well how dangerous this assignment was.
They certainly did, and they mitigated that risk in whatever way they could. As we noted, they both had their body armor and helmets on, but there is a lot of danger in Iraq that remains, and there are really no front lines.
All right, Martha Raddatz in Washington, thank you. Today's attack was part of a surge in roadside bombings in Iraq. There were more than 10,600 roadside attacks with homemade bombs last year, and more than 220 in just the last week alone. These bombings have accounted for more than half of all U.S. military injuries in Iraq. They are by far the single greatest cause of death for U.S. service members. ABC's David Wright reports from Baghdad.
The weapon of choice for Iraqi insurgents. Improvised explosive devices, IEDs for short. The trigger often improvised from an easy-to-find object, such as a phone or a remote-controlled toy. The explosives also easy to find here. Before the war, Iraq stockpiled 650,000 tons of ammunition. Ingenuity and experience have helped the insurgents fashion ever more lethal devices. shape charges designed to cut through steel armor plates. Often when the insurgents plant an IED, they watch and wait to trigger the bomb when it'll inflict maximum damage. Often they film the results. Doug Vogt filmed this attack just last month. He was here for Nightline when another convoy he was in hit an IED. He didn't suffer any injuries that day.
How close were you to the blast?
The trauma ward in Balad sees this kind of case every day. This soldier, one of thousands who've suffered.
Shrapnel in here and shrapnel in my hip.
The U.S. military has had to adapt its tactics. So-called hillbilly armor, improvised from Kevlar vests in some cases, shores up their Achilles heels. But Iraqi soldiers are among the most vulnerable because in general, the vehicles they drive are not armored. This weekend, we spent time with Iraqi troops north of Baghdad, not far from where today's attack took place. They said they often feel like sitting ducks. The other day, a bomb hit our vehicle, he told me. If we'd been in a U.S. Humvee, you wouldn't see much damage. But check out that car. It's totally destroyed. Here in Baghdad, everyone knows that when you're out on these streets, you could be the target of an IED attack. It's simply a crapshoot. Bob and Doug knew that. They are both, as has been pointed out, very experienced in war zones. But as journalists, you take the risk to cover the story. Elizabeth?
All right, David Wright in Baghdad, thank you. As we said, Bob and Doug were quickly evacuated to a U.S. military hospital. In the same way that military weapons have become more sophisticated in Iraq, so has battlefield medicine. In Iraq, the U.S. has created a system of military hospitals with advanced equipment and surgeons trained to do just about anything. Here's ABC's Diane Sawyer.
Every single soldier wounded in Iraq has paid a grave price. But it is also true that American soldiers are surviving their wounds in this conflict more than any other in history. In World War II, 30% of all injured troops died. In Vietnam, it was 24%. In Iraq, 9%. Body armor plays a major role. Helmet and flak jackets have saved many lives.
Open your eyes for me.
So has the presence of extraordinarily skilled doctors with state-of-the-art medical technology. At the military hospital where our Bob Woodruff and Doug Vogt were initially treated, doctors have the expertise and experience for any type of surgery except organ transplants. And just as important as physician skill, speed. Fleets of Black Hawk helicopters and C-130 transport planes to bring injured soldiers and doctors together faster than ever before.
So that combination has been really the savior for an astonishing number of soldiers and also civilians like Mr. Woodruff.
When a soldier is rushed to the U.S. military base in Landstuhl, Germany these days, the seriously injured can have mobile intensive care units, ventilators, and heart monitors for any soldier on board.
I can say fairly definitively, in the Korean War, he'd be dead. In the Vietnam War, he'd probably have a 40% mortality. Here, I don't know, maybe 1 in 500.
But even as the medical care makes huge strides, there's a parallel increase in the sophistication of enemy IEDs.
Instead of one area being traumatized, for example, a bullet to the abdomen, now you'll have an individual with 3 fragment wounds of the chest, 1 to the neck, 1 to the leg, and 1 to the head, all simultaneously.
There's 2 more coming.
And so the race continues between those who want to hurt and those who only want to heal. Elizabeth?
All right, Diane Zora reporting. Thank you. At least 79 journalists have died in Iraq and dozens more have been injured since the Iraqi war began nearly 3 years ago. As we said, Bob and Doug were out on patrol with U.S. and Iraqi forces, a practice known as embedding. Embedding offers a measure of protection, but Iraq is still a very dangerous assignment. Here's ABC's Jim Sciutto.
Go, 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 go.
Journalists have embedded with U.S. forces in Iraq more often and more freely than ever before. And as embeds, reporters assume many of the same risks as the soldiers they're covering. ABC's Martha Raddatz has embedded dozens of times.
Anybody can get injured in Iraq, and you try not to think about that all the time, but you try to take as reasonable a risk as you possibly can.
embedding has increasingly become a matter of necessity. Insurgent attacks and the threat of kidnapping have made traveling with the military, though risky, sometimes safer than going it alone. The benefit to reporters and to viewers is unprecedented visibility of the battlefield and of the military at its best, and sometimes its worst.
We've got cameras into places where they would never have been before, and I think the world's eyes have been opened to the reality of war in a way that has never happened before.
American journalists have long followed soldiers to war, from war correspondents like Ernie Pyle in World War II, killed by a Japanese sniper in 1945, to Vietnam, to the First Gulf War. But Iraq has been the deadliest for journalists. Former ABC News correspondent Jim Wooten covered wars from Vietnam to the First Gulf War to Bosnia to Iraq.
In Iraq, the insurgents pop up, they attack, they kill, they maim, they loot, and they disappear.
In 2003, Time magazine's Michael Weiskopf lost a hand in a grenade attack while traveling in a U.S. military Humvee.
You jump into the crosshairs every time you get into a Humvee.
And in Iraq, where the violence is often the story, getting close to the story is, by its nature, dangerous. Jim Sciutto, ABC News, London.
There was other violence in Iraq this Sunday. At least 3 people were killed in car bomb attacks outside the Vatican mission in Baghdad and at 4 churches in Baghdad and Kirkuk. Other attacks across Iraq left at least 17 more people dead. And it was once more again disorder in the court as the trial of Saddam Hussein resumed in Baghdad today. The defense team walked out and then Saddam was removed from the courtroom shouting, "Down with America." It was the first day for the new chief judge now hearing the trial of Saddam and 7 co-defendants for a 1982 massacre. The last chief judge quit. Turning now to news in Poland tonight, rescuers have given up hope of finding anyone else alive in the rubble of a crowded convention center after a deadly roof collapse. At least 66 people were killed and 150 hurt when the roof caved in during a popular bird show in the city of Katowice. ABC's Nick Watt reports tonight from Warsaw that investigators are trying to figure out what went wrong.
This morning, relatives of the missing clung on to hope. But when darkness fell, the rescuers gave up their search for the living. With temperatures dipping well below zero, they said, the chances of finding anyone else alive in the wreckage were close to zero. Survivors say the death toll could have been a lot higher. Earlier in the day, there were thousands of people in the exhibition hall. This, the scene shortly before disaster struck. Only around 500 racing pigeon enthusiasts still enjoying the show. And this, the scene after the roof collapsed. Policemen and firemen struggled for 20 hours to free survivors. 160 people were rushed to the hospital. Many suffered back and head injuries. The rescue is over, but the grieving has only just begun. Poland's president this afternoon declared 3 days of national mourning. An investigation is now underway. Was the roof poorly constructed? Was the weight of snow too great? Or in this, Poland's coldest winter in 20 years, did steel beams simply buckle? Nick Watt, ABC News, Warsaw.
And we'll be right back.
This is World News Tonight, brought to you by Prescription Singulair.
People who doesn't like to be held back. I have my fast-acting inhalers.
So I thought I was in control of my asthma, but I was using my inhaler
a lot. So I learned about something more I could do.
The more I could do.
If you use your fast-acting inhaler more than twice a week for symptoms, talk to your doctor because you may not be in control of your asthma. Singulair helps prevent asthma symptoms before they start and helps provide 24-hour control in a once-a-day tablet. Singulair is not a steroid, and Singulair is also approved to help relieve indoor and outdoor allergy symptoms. Singulair will not replace fast-acting inhalers for sudden symptoms. Continue taking your other asthma medicines as prescribed. If asthma symptoms get worse, contact your doctor at once. Side effects are generally mild and vary by age and may include headache, ear infection, sore throat, and upper respiratory infection. Join the millions of people with asthma who have discovered Singulair.
I learned about something more I could do.
Ask your doctor about Singulair today.
I haven't lost my jump shot or my passion. My multivitamin, Centrum Silver.
Centrum Silver has a group of essential nutrients that emerging science suggests may help reduce the risk of heart disease. Put your heart into what you love with age-adjusted Centrum Silver.
If you decide to quit smoking, there are things you should know that can greatly increase your chances for success. To learn about them, visit Quit Assist Online, a free resource that links you to a wealth of expert quitting information, including tools and tips that have worked for others. Because the more you know about how to quit, the better your chances for success. Quit Assist. Log on through philipmorrisusa.com.
Taking more pills than you'd like for your arthritis pain? Here's some good news for you. Only Aleve has the strength to stop arthritis pain all day long with just 2 pills. That would take 8 Tylenol. Aleve. Good news you'll want to share.
My dad and I have been in the septic business for over 40 years. A septic system today can cost many, many thousands of dollars to replace.
Rid-X uses bacteria and enzymes to help prevent septic backups.
I've always recommended Rid-X, and I've never recommended anything else.
A sore throat is bad enough. A cough can blast it with painful shock waves. Now there's one lozenge, Cepacol Sore Throat Plus Cough. The only lozenge with pain-numbing anesthetic plus cough suppressant. New Cepacol Sore Throat Plus Cough.
Tonight, a top government scientist is speaking out about what he says is an effort to keep him quiet about global warming. NASA's leading climate expert says the pressure for silence has been coming from the space agency and is part of a Bush administration effort aimed at trying to keep those quiet who are sounding the alarm on global warming. Here's ABC's Bill Blakemore.
NASA's chief climate scientist, James Hansen, says the administration intensified efforts to silence him after he gave a speech last month with this warning.
We're getting very close to a tipping point in the climate system. If we don't get off a business-as-usual scenario and begin to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions, we're going to get big climate changes.
Hansen says threats from NASA officials came only by phone, nothing in writing.
One threat was relayed to me that there would be dire consequences, unspecified, so I don't know what that means.
This morning, NASA is announcing that this year, 2005, is tied for the hottest year ever.
When the ABC, Good Morning America, released our data showing that 2005 was probably the warmest year in the period of instrumental data, I got calls that they were very unhappy.
NASA issued a statement this afternoon saying its policies are similar to those of any other federal agency, corporation, or news organization in requiring any NASA employee to coordinate any statements with the Office of Public Affairs. No exceptions. Over the past year, a growing number of American scientists who study global warming have been complaining about the federal government's efforts to silence or alter their reports or to discourage them. Many climate scientists now say the Bush administration's policy of asking businesses to cut greenhouse gases voluntarily simply won't work. Hansen says NASA's stated mission includes protecting the planet and that he will continue to speak out. Bill Blakemore, ABC News, New York.
And you can see all of Bill's interview with Dr. James Hansen by logging on to the Broadcast Plus part of our website at wnt.abcnews.com. And one other note from overseas, a train carrying as many as 600 people derailed in the mountains of eastern Pakistan today, plunging into a gorge. At least 3 people were killed and 40 more were hurt. Coming up, the $30 million defense. Enron's top officials go on trial tomorrow. How they're trying to stay out of jail.
If you're thinking about joint replacement surgery, here's an important question to consider. Which implant is right for your specific needs? Only your doctor knows for sure. He also knows that Biomet offers the widest range of implant choices and sizes available today. Is Biomet right for you? Ask your doctor. To learn more, visit our website or call for a free brochure. Biomet, advanced science for real living.
Want to know a secret? This is what some grown-ups think it means to eat their vegetables. That's why there's Delicious Ensure, complete balanced nutrition, vitamins, minerals, food energy. If you don't eat right, eat smart. Drink Ensure.
So you're saying he's a fairy?
Snack fairy.
Help! A little help! And he brought you gifts?
Yep. Brought these.
Fig Newtons. 100% whole grain?
They're good, actually.
Yep, they are good.
We love your cookies, sir.
What? Walk it off, Snack Fairy!
New 100% whole grain Fig Newtons from Nabisco.
Snack happy.
This great night's sleep brought to you by Lunesta. This great night's sleep brought to you by Lunesta. Lunesta. Millions of Americans who once had trouble turning off their restless minds are catching a great night's sleep with Lunesta. Lunesta can give you and your restless mind the sleep you need. Lunesta helps most people sleep all through the night and works quickly, so take it right before bed. Lunesta is non-narcotic and approved for long-term use. Of course, do not use sleep medicines for extended periods without first talking to your doctor. Be sure you have at least 8 hours to devote to sleep before becoming active. Until you know how you'll react to Lunesta, you should not drive or operate machinery. Avoid taking Lunesta with alcohol. Most sleep medicines carry some risk of dependency. Side effects may include unpleasant taste, headache, drowsiness, and dizziness. Ready to catch a great night's sleep? Just climb into bed and leave the rest to Lunesta.
Now you see it. Now you don't. Benefiber, unlike Metamucil, it dissolves completely in beverages and is completely tasteless. Now that's fiberlutionary. Benefiber makes taking fiber easier.
Someone's secretly watching you and your family at work, at play, even inside your home. Doubt us? Well, this week, GMA uncovers just who's watching, how they do it, and gives you the know-how to stop them now. This week, ABC's Good Morning America's watching out for you.
In Houston tomorrow, the two former top officials of Enron go on trial for fraud and conspiracy in one of the biggest corporate scandals in American history. When the energy company collapsed 4 years ago, 11,000 Enron workers lost their jobs and saw their pensions and health care coverage disappear. And $1 billion in employee retirement accounts evaporated. ABC's Mike Von Fremd is in Houston.
When Charlie Prestwood retired to his home in the country after 33 years with Enron, he knew exactly what he had in his nest egg.
$1,310,507 and some few cents. That was my lifetime savings.
That nest egg is gone, and like thousands of former Enron employees, Prestwood wants his former bosses to go to jail.
I hope for them to pay for their evil deeds that they've done.
Enron Chairman Ken Lay and CEO Jeff Skilling are charged with intentionally lying about the health of their company while dumping $500 million of their own stock. But this is not going to be a slam dunk for the prosecution. The defense has spent $30 million preparing for this trial, even building a war room.
We're saying there was no conspiracy, there was no fraud. This just didn't happen.
Another hurdle for the prosecution is to make the jury understand an incredibly complicated case about intricate and often mind-boggling accounting practices.
That is going to be the daunting challenge for the prosecution, because this case is going to be very complex, going to be at times very tedious.
The trial is expected to last at least 4 months. Charlie Prestwood and thousands of Enron employees and stockholders will never get their money back. What they want now is justice. Mike Von Fremd, ABC News, Houston.
Besides the trial of the former Enron leaders, here are some of the other big stories to keep an eye on in the coming week. It will be a very busy Tuesday. That's when President Bush delivers the State of the Union address. Also that day, the full Senate is scheduled to vote on Supreme Court nominee Samuel Alito. And Alan Greenspan will step down after 18 years as chairman of the Federal Reserve. ABC News will provide live coverage of the State of the Union address and the Democratic response, along with full analysis beginning at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday night. And we'll be right back.
As Team Mom, my mom always watches what we eat and encourages us to eat our Campbell's Chunky Soup. Like new Chunky Fajita Steak.
Eat up those big chunks of steak.
She's also very encouraging from the sidelines.
Wait, go that way.
Good stuff. New Campbell's Chunky Fajita Soups fill you up right.
Have 50,000 going once, twice, sold to the gentleman in the center.
I want to go ahead and sell it now.
Constantly buying and selling stocks doesn't make much sense either. That's why Edward Jones advises clients to buy long-term investments.
It's the 2006 Hyundai Sonata. Protected by 6 airbags, standard. And it's earned the U.S. government's highest crash test rating, 5 stars. And now, for a limited time, the 2006 Sonata comes with up to $2,000 cash back. It's the car Edmunds.com says, in the areas of performance and features, Sonata wins in a landslide. The 2006 Sonata. It's a Hyundai like you've never seen before.
Beautiful dawn lights up the shore for me. There is nothing else in the world. I'd rather wake up and see with you. Beautiful dawn.
Our taxes are done. Our taxes are done.
What? Shouldn't we have gone to one of those tax stores?
Why? TurboTax asks me questions just like the tax guy does. Then puts the answers on all the right forms.
But the tax guy checks it.
TurboTax checks for errors and missed deductions.
How do we know it's right?
All calculations are guaranteed accurate. Over 20 million returns were prepared with TurboTax last year alone.
Well, if it's so good, then how much are we getting back? Wow.
TurboTax. Taxes made easy. Taxes done right.
When you're constipated, a stimulant laxative like Dulcolax can cause cramps. And cramps can give you a bad day. Phillips Caplets don't have harsh stimulants, so you get gentle relief without cramps. Relief feels better with Phillips Caplets.
Tonight, a family that sacrifices everything for the animals they've rescued.
If they had more room, they could save more animals.
Superstar Robin Williams and the design team will give them one extreme surprise. All new Extreme Makeover Home Edition, tonight 8/7 Central, only on ABC.
Finally tonight, another note about my co-anchor and good friends, Bob Woodruff and cameraman Doug Vogt, two of the very best in the business. Bob and Doug were in Iraq doing what reporters do, trying to find out what's happening there, up close and firsthand. All of us are mindful of the risks and the dangers. Bob and Doug always took care to balance those risks with the need to report the story. We are all very concerned about our friends tonight and their wives and their children. And we are reminded once again in a very personal way of what so many families of American servicemen and women endure so often when they receive news of their loved one being hurt. Our thoughts and prayers tonight are with those families as well. And that is World News Tonight for this Sunday. We'll have the very latest on Bob and Doug and all the overnight news tomorrow on Good Morning America. I'm Elizabeth Vargas. For all of us here at ABC News, good night.
Tonight, a new boss in the house.
Ow, ow. Am I hurting you? No, you're touching me.
A new strike on the street.
I'm a union guy. Fair hours, fair wages.
And a new line is crossed.
Can you keep a secret?
And all new Grey's Anatomy tonight, 10/9 Central, only on ABC.
Kaiser Permanente. Thrive.
So, I'm on that roasted chicken Italiano diet.
I just started the turkey noodle diet.
This chicken and wild rice diet.
It's amazing. Beef and mushroom diet. You've got to try it.
You won't believe what you can eat while still watching your calories. Because 25 of your favorite Progresso soups are 100 calories or less per serving.
Roasted garlic chicken with vegetables and penne. Oh, it shows.
Counting calories?